This episode is brought to you by our generous sponsor, Cobalt Press. Tales of the Old Margrave, a 5e adventure that takes you deep in an ancient magical forest with new spells, monsters, magic items, and wondrous locations. Contained within this dragon's hoard of material, you will find a collection of 12 adventures for heroes level 1 to 10, and over 200 pages full of blood and thorns, vengeful dragons, and secrets of the forest. Head on over to critacademy.com/cobaltpress and get your copy of the Tales of Old Margrave today. Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your host, Brandon. No, your host, Dan.
Thank you for showing up, Brandon. I thought you were going to be late. That's fantastic. This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content for you and your next adventure. Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither is our D&D games.
We want to thank you guys for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your roles don't matter.
Yep, that's right. Your roles like a boss without an interesting mechanic.
Our main topic today is 100 Interesting Boss Mechanics by DNDSpeak. I love this guy. I follow him on Twitter and Facebook, man. They're always releasing these big 100 lists, and this was one that really grabbed me by the satchel and forced me to drag it on the show because it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we close out our show with Unearthed Tips and Tricks, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DM. Now, I'm really excited to talk about our main topic today, dude. DNDSpeak does fantastic work. They always spit out these 100 things, these lists, these giant charts. And this one really jumped out at me. You know, as a DM, we all do our best to attempt to have the most interesting of villains, cool motivations, relatable morals, and, you know, so much more. That's part of being a DM, in my opinion, one of the best parts. But when it comes down to characters engaging in the big bag enemy guy, that's where really we need the villains to shine. We want to give the players an encounter that they will never forget. Not only do they feel for the villain, but now there's interesting mechanics to make it a fun combat. And I know that's one of your favorite aspects of the game, Ian. Yep. So you really appreciate an interesting combat instead of just go up and I hit them type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
For some DMs, this can be challenging. And I think that's probably a challenge for most DMs, honestly. Luckily, DNDSpeak has got us covered. They released this 100 interesting boss mechanics, and it can really help you enhance those battles like nobody's business. Now, obviously, we can't go through all 100 of these.
Right.
So we've each picked out a few that really jumped out at us. And by we, I mean the two of us did, and Brandon was just going to wing it when he shows up because that's kind of how he rolls. Which I guess there's no problem with that, I guess.
And
you have anything to say for yourself, Brandon? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah. And it's important to appreciate good mechanics because sometimes even when there are times where a DM thinks they're giving a player a challenge, sometimes the way the dice falls or they actually plan ahead. Like, I remember, like one of the guys I played with on Saturdays, he was lamenting about how he ran a one-shot one time. He's like, yeah, I think the dragon and a couple fire elementals, it was rated as a extremely challenging encounter. And you guys murdered the dragon before it could even act. I'm like, look, I'm sorry I casted haste, twinned on the barbarian and the fighter, and we got a surprise round.
Yeah, that does happen, and I would say that's nothing to lament as a DM. I would say you should be encouraging and rewarding your players, saying, hey, you know what, that was supposed to be a harder encounter, but you guys went in prepared, you did this research, the combo spell that you tossed together, it all fit, and it took this difficulty and really just made it squashed its challenge rating.
Or in this case, the dragon may have failed its perception check.
That too. Sometimes stuff like that happens. So we went through this massive list. Once again, down below under the About Us, there's a link to the show notes. You can find the link there. I also put it in the chat, but I think if you show up late, you don't get it. So shit out of luck. Ian, we're going to talk about your picks first. So what I'm hoping to do is we're going to read them and then talk about how we think we would get the most out of them, what maybe creatures would be really great for that sort of thing, and really why is it interesting to you, right?
Yep.
So you want to tell us about this first one?
Well, the first one is, which was number 5 on the website's list. The boss is blind, but he takes damage when he's in natural light. The adventurers need to use the boss's charm sense and or echolocation to lead him into beams of light.
I think this is hilarious because it kind of reminds me of those video game bosses where you can make them really really strong, but by dragging them into this particular area, you win. You can weaken them, which means you probably can't win without doing that.
Nope.
Or it makes it an exceedingly more difficult challenge. This reminds me of. Do you ever watch the show Tremors?
Surprisingly, no.
They're basically giant earthworms that swim through the ground and eat people, but
I know the premise.
they
yeah.
can't see, but they can only hear. So the main characters are constantly trying to bang on stuff and throw rocks and stuff to lure them to other locations. And I feel like this would really reward that sort of play style and would be almost a necessity depending on the type of monster. I think like for something like this, I would pick a burrowing monster, something like what is the stupid damn it, I just had it in my head, the
Purple Worm.
well, the purple worm's one.
Umber Hulk.
Umber Hulk's another one. Damn, what is it called? I'm thinking of a very specific
Bulette?
one. Yes, the Bulette. Thank you. That was a very maybe you because they can normally see, you can blind them, right? So
Yep.
you can make it damaged or scarred or something like that. And half the players have to come up with this sort of scenario of luring it away. And I think that's just an interesting and fun mechanic overall.
Mhm.
And I think it could really work with creatures that are innately have the sunlight sensitivity, right?
Mhm.
Like a lot of Underdark monsters have that stuff, and kobolds as well. So it doesn't have to just be that they're taking extra damage, but you could just utilize it and impose disadvantage on them by exploiting that weakness.
I'm starting to laugh because I just briefly remembered in the episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures when they're fighting a very tough guy who also happened to be a new vampire. But because he's a new vampire, it didn't quite occur to him to not run in front of the open window when there was daylight outside.
Did he like just turn to ash when he ran in front of it?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So something like this could be really cool and really fun, and it's a trope that we've seen before,
Yep.
but I don't know that I've ever actually utilized it. And there's a lot of monsters with sunlight sensitivity that you can include, especially like drow and stuff. So definitely consider that. What's this other one you have, Ian? Number 35 on the list.
I don't even know how to pronounce that word.
Ecdysis? Isidisis? I don't know.
Armor Isidisis. That word.
I'm sure somebody will send me a nasty gram saying, why the hell can't you pronounce right?
I'm just going to type it in chat. Basically, the boss is wearing powerful, heavy armor. But and that is what takes damage instead of the boss. But the boss is also really slow. And as the armor itself takes damage as he's attacked, it slowly breaks off, leaving the boss vulnerable. But he gets faster and more maneuverable as a consequence. And for each stage of armor that's destroyed, the boss, well, he takes more damage, his attacks get weaker, but then he becomes able to perform more late attacks and get more movement and go up in initiative and so on and so forth.
So basically, he's wearing, I would almost say like a reinforced prosthetic, like
Yep.
Iron Man, right?
Yep.
And as you puck away his fancy Iron Man armor, the little tiny squishy Tony Stark is on the inside.
But he gets faster.
But because he's getting faster now, he takes extra damage, but maybe he can use the dodge action as a bonus action, like with cunning action as a rogue.
Right.
So that's really interesting, and I think it's really cool if you increase his AC.
Yep.
If you decide not to give him like the bonus action dodge, maybe just increasing his AC
Sure.
based on like a high dex or something. That's interesting because now he could be darting around the room and like disengaging. I really think cunning action would be a really good one for whatever mob you put in the center.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is cool because I think that the entire time he's taking damage, you could then include called shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't something that 5e supports. But
Not natively, anyway.
Right, not natively. But this could be an interesting way to include that. Hey, you knocked off his big shoulder and you see this tiny little arm underneath it. I'm going to go for the arm. Maybe you impose disadvantage on all those attacks, but it allows you to do more damage. I really think this really reminds me like a guy in a mech suit type of thing,
Right.
probably.
I mean, you attack with disadvantage, but if you hit, you crit.
Right.
So.
Ooh, I like that. That's good. I like that. This other one you got here is number 49. The bosses are a dark mirror of the adventuring party from another plane. One of the main quest givers actually traveled from the plane to the adventurer's plane and gathered them together because he knew that they would be had great power potential, since he knew of their evil might. That's cool. Make them twisted versions of the characters and have the player's aid come from good versions of the baddies of the characters that they've fought on their homeland. For example, a gnome cleric may be a warlock, the fighter a death knight, and the wizard an enchanter, etc., etc. I think this is really cool.
Yep.
I play Final Fantasy 14, and in Final Fantasy 14 you run into like shadow versions of your characters. Instead of the warrior of light, it's the warrior of darkness in his party and everything. What I think would be really cool is if you twisted like their flaws in their habits. So let's say you got one person who twists their hair and curls it. It's one of their habits or mannerisms, and the other person's doing it, but they're like ripping their hair out or something in the process.
Actually, two other things that occurred to me is like the old webcomic 8-bit theater, where the main characters basically had to fight like manifestations of their flaws, but the party black mage was so freaking evil that his flaw was just basically a clone of himself.
It's just himself.
Wait, you're me? Yep. So you're an evil version of me. Dude, you're already evil. You can't go above Max.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think you could play on this where you make him opposite too. So if he's evil,
Yep.
maybe it's a good holy paladin version of himself or something.
He ended up killing his evil doppelganger and sucking in his power. Just making me more
What the hell?
Exactly.
This is something I've seen numerous times before. It's not uncommon. One of my I'd say one of the cool advantages of this is that as the DM, you could then use all those abilities that they use on all your characters to whip their ass into the ground. Like, I'm tired of your Eldritch Blast and Warlock ass. Eat an Eldritch Blast.
Is that me? Is that a more powerful version of me? Is that me stronger than me? I'm gonna kick me's butt.
Pretty sure. Is that what he says? Or he says, I'm gonna kick my ass.
Something like that.
Something like that. So that's a really cool one. I think that once again, I would also not just take their classes, but focus on like their backgrounds and their personalities. Like, can you imagine if your character's a sailor, and then like the opposite of him is a guy who lives in a desert or something, like a desert nomad or something?
Yep.
I think
Desert
that would
hermit.
be really cool too.
That was in the shack. That never leaves.
Does deserts have shacks?
Why not?
Well, there are no leaves, is there?
I don't see why not.
Magical leaves. Magic.
Magic.
Do you want to tell us about the next one? They're number 62 that you picked out.
Every turn, as a bonus action, the boss teleports. And on top of all that, every time the boss takes damage, he teleports to a random spot in the arena.
That makes him really hard to lock down.
Yeah, that barbarian has to grapple. Too bad.
Well, so I actually think we could do better with this one. I think that if you made him specifically able to grapple or teleport with people, and when somebody, if the enemy grapples onto a player and is randomly teleported, it could be in any direction. It doesn't have to be in a safe spot. It could be up in the sky. It could be, into a bed of spikes, or you put him in an area where it's his home, like a tiefling in an area full of fire. What are you dressed as?
It's a kilt.
It's a kilt.
Oh. Welcome back, Brandon. Thank you for joining us. You're only a half hour late. Your fuzzy satchel is a little too close to me for comfort. Welcome to the party. Wizard Cadia says strengths to weaknesses, weaknesses to strength. I think that's an awesome idea. The real cool that this kind of reminded me of is, you guys ever watch X-Men First Class?
Yeah.
They have Azazel who grabs people, teleports into the sky, and then just drops them. I would love to utilize this in some sort of encounter like that, where he just grabs, teleports into the sky.
Well, another thing too, though, is if he randomly teleports every time he's attacked, What if he accidentally teleports into a hazard?
Ooh, well, yeah, that's what I was saying. If
Yeah.
you surrounded him in an area where he's got a strength, like if it's a tiefling and there's fire everywhere,
Right.
and then he randomly teleports into fire, well, it's not going to punish him nearly as much as it's going to punish the enemy that he's grappled. You're going to need to open up the 100 interesting boss mechanics since you didn't pick any in advance. Wow, he just pulled his phone right out of his satchel.
Milkman, Kiltman.
I think that's a really cool one. So number 97 here that Ian picked is strong fighter type character with a great sword that emanates magical power. Turns out, though, he's being possessed by the weapon. When disarmed, he won't know where he is or what is going on and surrenders immediately. Just make sure that nobody else picks up the sword. I think this is a great idea for a powerful cursed item.
Or if you accidentally kill the guy who doesn't tell you it's cursed because he's dead.
Oh, then somebody picks it up. Oh, man. That's dark. I would think that would be a really good opportunity to get use out of things like detect evil and stuff like that, because in something like this, I feel like the best way to do it would be to put your characters in a situation where he does beg for his life, and now they have to decide if he's full of shit or not. But
Ooh, can the guy who's possessed by the sword even talk?
well, maybe he can't, or maybe it's something that somebody with high insight picks up on.
Right.
Maybe they see a shell of a man that's swinging wildly. Because normally, when an enemy comes at you with a giant weapon and you're clashing blades and they're smashing armor and all that stuff, the anger in the heat of battle rushes to their eyes. But maybe you go out of your way to describe his eyes seem lifeless and you can sense sorrow in them. I think that would be a really great thing to touch on during combat, as he barrels down on top of you. Your blades are locked and you can see nothing but emptiness in his eyes.
And
little clues like that would make this really interesting.
Well, then, this is a trip that we've seen before in other stuff, too.
Absolutely.
Like, once again, when I reference JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, there was one episode where there was a sword that was going around possessing people.
Yeah, was that? I don't remember the sword. I know of the mask thing. That was cool.
Yeah.
The mask that possessed people. What do you think, Brandon?
Or that one Brandon Sanderson book where anybody who picks up a sword is killed by it.
For some reason, I thought it was backwards, but it's not. You're good. What do you think about that trope there, Brandon?
Which one was it?
Picking up a sword, being possessed by it.
Picking up a sword and being possessed by it. I like the idea of the owner being dead, so you don't know it's cursed, like what you said before.
Like they kill him, and then a player picks it up.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, too, if the
Yeah,
fire
well,
was going
otherwise
on,
that-
they can just maybe potentially just disarm the guy.
Yeah, but no player's gonna think to do that unless they already have it. I think, right?
Like a Battlemaster.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is interesting because I think it would be amazing if you introduced like a family member or a person of importance to the party that's searching out this person that they lost early on, and then they're actually there to slay this guy who's killing everyone, and then eventually they make that connection maybe after they've already slain him or something, where he wasn't in control and how he disappeared after he was going through the old armory or some shit. I think it could be really fun. So now we get to the good picks, the ones that I picked. No, I'm just kidding.
I've already chosen two.
Did you? Good.
Yeah. Two that just jumped out.
Well, so in the show notes I put Brandon's picks. It's blank. No surprise there.
Oh, fuck you.
I forgot about that. Oh my God. So so one of the ones that
I think I found the line. Let's see here.
yeah, I don't know anybody can hear it. It's not plugged into my thing.
Okay, what the hell am I?
Dude, what the hell am I sensing? Is that the Namekian?
Is that me? Is that me stronger than me? Oh, kill me!
That's funny.
That's the line.
So
You thwart my plans?
what? No. So one of the ones I picked is number 4. The boss cannot be close to an object or another boss, or else they rapidly restore health. Keeping it away will make it easier to take it down. Now, as I've mentioned, I loved World of Warcraft in the past. Battle for Azeroth kind of was quite the letdown, and so was Mists of Pandaria. Really, pretty much everything after Wrath of Lich King was kind of a letdown. But one of my favorite fights in Karazhan was the Romeo and Juliet fight. And the secret was you had to keep them apart and then kill them simultaneously. Otherwise, they end up just buffing each other and healing each other up. And I think that makes for a fantastic boss battle mechanic, because as the players are cutting through and you just describe them as regenerating over and over and over, first thing they're going to do, first of all, is metagame and try to use Firebolt or some sort of fire mechanic to end it. But you would have to feed to the party through insight checks or intelligence checks that, when they're closer or farther together. I think in order for this to really work, you have to have a character, a room that forces everyone to move around a lot.
I actually remember one time in a 4th edition game, we came across the exact opposite of this.
Where the farther that you want to get them close together?
Right, because it was actually we're two cursed trolls, Hurley and Burley, who hated each other, who were brothers, who were immortal, unless they were by each other.
That's very much, isn't the premise of that movie with Will Smith?
Yeah,
Or
Hancock.
Hancock, yeah.
Or Demona and Xanatos and Gargoyles.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I love that show.
But yeah, I remember Hurley, who kept on attacking us. I think we eventually knocked him unconscious by killing him, because he comes back to life. We quickly bound him, kept on decapitating him repeatedly, so he would stay down. And I think we eventually tossed him into wet cement.
Did it finally work?
Well, we left him inside hard cement.
So he's still alive in the cement. That's funny. I like this one. I think this is a great sort of combat, and it's easy. You can give this ability to any two groups, whether they're related or their spouses or frenemies, any sort of thing like that. And you can really do it with any combination. I think it would work best if you had like a frontline fighter and then like a caster. Because then you're making the caster, you would expect the frontline fighter to be super strong and regenerate, but you wouldn't expect the caster to. So the two being damn near immortal. I mean, how many rounds do you think it would take before the players picked up on that?
Depends on the group.
Yeah.
And the answer is also too many.
I would think that you'd have to show some sort of a physical aura or something. Like as they get closer, they start glowing that green and their wounds start healing or something.
Ooh.
Because otherwise, if you don't tell them,
They're
just
not
gonna
gonna
assume they're immortal or super strong.
Right. Well, and that's where I think it's important to have offer intelligence checks or insight checks into the situation. Probably intelligence checks mostly, observation and everything. So, all right. So the next one I picked. Also, I didn't talk about it much, but the other thing I thought was cool about this is there's a generate encounter button where it just randomly picks you one, so you can just pick it and then move on.
Neat.
Number 20 that I picked is the boss is a wall, slowly shrinking the room and pushing the party to a pit or a wall of spikes. Now, this seems kind of low and boring compared to the rest, but once again, I'm going to jump into Final Fantasy because I'm playing the shit out of the new expansion, which is awesome, by the way. Who doesn't love it that the creatures that look like angels are actually, not good guys? It's fantastic. In this one of the fights you do is called like the demon wall, and you're on this really long balcony, and then the door is a massive double open like French door, but it's got a massive demon head on it. And what happens is you have to kill the door to get through it. But as it's happening, it's a DPS race, and then you get this kind of AoE effect that just kind of just wipes you off the board, if I remember right. And it does a lot of attacks, and if you can't beat it in a certain time, it has pushbacks, and it can knock you off the edge, and all these different things would make for a fantastic, simple battle of you're fighting a damn giant door that's got a demon head that comes out and shoots blasts of energy out and pushes you back, knocks you off the edge, and something as simple as that. The shrinking room one was less interesting to me because I've seen that and I've done it before. But I like the idea of just having a big strip with you ever play Mortal Kombat with the big spikes at the bottom? Mm-hmm. And then given the door ability to just knock them off like fancy repelling blasts or something that knock them off the edge and they fall to their death. Or they fall in an excruciating plane and have to climb back up or fly back up or some shit like that. Yeah. I think that was a really interesting one. You could also, I like the wall of spikes too. I guess it doesn't have to knock you to a floor, but just like an entire room full of spikes and it has all these the door has all these little pushbacks.
A giant Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Ugh.
Oh man, that's nice. I like that. So this one right here, number 32, this really jumped out at me because I'm a huge fan of Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm pretty sure that's where this came from. So it's called Shadow Tag. The boss can restrain / hold a person with advantage by simply standing on that creature's shadow. The boss has multiple spotlights that they can move around the battlefield. Although the boss cannot hold people in the dark, no shadows. They do have keen dark vision. So in Yu Yu Hakusho, there's a person who can literally paralyze somebody by standing on their shadow. The person can't move, they can't do shit. And I just think about how cool this would be. Put a couple desk lamps around your table and everyone's minis, or just one desk lamp that you could represent like dancing lights or something like that. And then you lower it down the side of the table and actually cast shadows along the minis, and then move your monster onto the shadows of the players. And if you got multiples of these lights, lowering it, because he can move it, so maybe as a bonus action, he can raise it and lower it, casting the shadows longer, and get to the point where he pins multiple people.
That sounds like it'd be fun.
That does sound freaking awesome. I'm totally doing that.
Couldn't one of the captains in Bleach also injure enemies by stabbing their shadows?
I don't know. I know the one kid in Naruto, Shikamaru, can do it too, right?
Oh,
He does like
that-
a shadow binding technique.
That was in Sailor Moon too.
Was it? Clearly, it's in a lot of anime, but I really like this. I thought that
Naruto,
this was
shadow-
fantastic. Yes.
Yeah,
This is
apparently.
fantastic to me, and honestly, I think I might want to run this at some point. Maybe next time I use miniatures and stuff, I'll actually use like a lamp light or a flashlight to cast shadows on the minis, and then have my guy, step on them. And if you combine it with somebody that uses dancing lights that can move them around, you might be able to get multiple shadows, so he can stand on one and bind a bunch of them. I think that's fantastic. Would you guys like a fight like that?
Yep.
Now that brings up another question. It says that the boss deals damage if he steps on your shadow, right?
No, it doesn't say anything about
Or
damage.
that
It
he-
just binds them.
Or holds him.
But let's say, for me, I would treat it as hold person, which means advantage on every melee attack is a crit. Or every hit is a crit, right? Something like that.
Nothing but that one dude from Vampire Hunter D, who could teleport from shadow to shadow, including his enemy shadows, and anywhere
cool.
he stabs on their shadow injures them directly.
That's dope as hell.
Or give the boss like tendrils or tentacles, so that when they do pierce the shadow,
It pierces them.
no, it holds them while they can go and keep attacking their allies from a distance, and they can't do shit about it.
Yeah, see, that's a really... I think you could do that with a reflavoring of just the hold spell, too. Could you imagine that? Where he uses the regular hold spell and just throws a kunai or something into their shadow, and it pins them there like somebody that got an arrow holding their cloak to the wall.
What is going on?
See, that sounds awesome. I really want to do that. That really has got my Peter tingling. The last one that I picked, sadly, there was a lot. I really wanted to pick a bunch of this
That was
shit.
kind of a problem.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of them. D&DSpeak did a fantastic job. This one is adaptivity. There's two different types. Type A, the boss can only be damaged the first time by each attack. After that, the boss comes immune or invulnerable to it until it finishes a long rest. The party must constantly come up with new ways to damage the boss. So, i.e. changing weapons, changing spells, all that sort of stuff. Knocking them into a fire, throwing them off a cliff. That, to me, is awesome.
Teleporting a 5-mile ship into the air.
Yep, that too. And type B is the boss is protected by a shield or force field that reflects damage of the type last used on the boss. So this is really cool. So these are very defensive style plays. And once again, I'm going to get nerdy because Yu Yu Hakusho has this. In one of the tournaments, they have this guy that bites on these orbs or drinks in the smoke, and he becomes immune to the last attack. And I think he's fighting Hiei. So
Yep.
Hiei slashes him with an attack, and then he just drinks in this stuff, and he gets some bird feathers, and the next time he tries to slash him, it like doesn't penetrate his fur or his feathers. I don't remember which.
It was fur first, then feathers, then wolf form.
10 cool points to you for knowing that. I love that show, and I don't remember. But this was really interesting because it forces a unique take on how you approach it. The fighter can't just draw his maul and start beating the crap. He gets one hit in, and then the follow-up hits are he's immune. I would definitely put some sort of cue that he's becoming immune. Based on the attack type. Would you make it tied to the type of attack, like slashing damage, or the type of weapons? Like, if I hit you with a long sword, the next time I get hit you with a short sword.
I'd do damage type.
Damage type,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
damage type.
What do you guys think about this?
Guys, is it just me, or is it getting tougher every time we hear them?
I think this is cool because it would force creative thinking at some point, depending on how much HP you gave it.
That, and I mean, you can only do so many different kinds of attacks before you can't do any.
That's true.
You better play it
where
smart.
you would have to play it smart, right? You'd have to make your attacks count. I would think that it would be really important to be on the player's side on this one and say, okay, they've gotten really creative. I just gave it too much HP. Next one's got to make it go down or something. But I also would include many different ways to kill it, like a nearby fire or acid pit or a cliff, something like that. So.
Or
Um,
maybe it's like one at a time. Like, okay, you hit me with slashing damage. Slashing damage won't work the next round from anybody, and then you do bludgeoning the next round, and it replaces slashing with bludgeoning so that you can use slashing the next round.
But how would you do that? Because in one round you probably would get a multitude of invulnerabilities, or a multitude of different attacks, right?
Oh,
The
that's right.
barbarian with the maul, the rogue with the finesse rapier, the mage with the firebolt. So I think that it would be challenging, but I think it would make an interesting combat. So, Brandon, what are some of the ones you picked? Since I don't have them on here, what numbers are they?
5 and 10.
Okay, you sure if 5 hasn't been picked already?
It has not. 4 has.
No, 5 is definitely on there. Try again.
Is 5 on there?
Ian picked number 5.
Oh, damn it, Ian.
That's why I wanted to make sure the numbers were in there. What was the other one you had?
10.
Okay, let's tell us about 10.
There is a massive minefield that has a bloodthirsty invisible stalker roaming around it. Mines deal heavy damage to both players and the elemental, and groups that can't find the stalker have to activate the mines to either kill it, or scare it away.
Okay, before we continue on that, Wizard Cadis says Weapon Master. I agree. That would be a great opportunity for the Master of Weapons to really shine. So I actually almost picked this one. In fact, it was on my list when I whittled it down from 15 to 5. I think this is hilarious because he can trip the mines as the players are running through it and they can't see him, so he can be tripping off explosives by throwing rocks near them and when they're trying to chase him into the field. I think that's hilarious. What do you think?
It definitely, you have to be quite tactical about how you go about it.
Yeah, I think the first cue would be, obviously, he's not going to run into a minefield that he doesn't know where everything's at. So I think it would be make a priority for the players to find a way to make him visible.
Yep.
And then you could use skill checks like survival to track his tracks in the area so you don't step on a mine. But if this bastard is throwing rocks and pebbles on mines to explode them, or glyphs of warding if you don't use mines.
I ready my action to grapple the dude when he stabs me.
Oh, that's cool. So when he gets close, you don't let him get away. I like that.
Okay, grapple him. Now what? I run straight ahead with him in front of me.
Drag his ass through the exploding minefield. I love it. What is it that you've really found interesting, B?
When I read that, my very first thought was graboids.
Yeah, we had that discussion too.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Wait, when did you have that discussion?
Before you got here.
Oh, well, motherfucker. Yeah, I mean, anyone who's seen Tremors knows that the easiest way to kill them is to make them swallow explosives, and then it blows them up. Or you can blow up an explosive to scare them away, and they're invisible because they're underground. That's what that made me thought. I was like, oh, that's neat. I like the idea of graboid monsters in D&D.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Which number were we talking about with that one?
That was 10.
That was number 5, I think we were talking about before.
Or
With
5?
the tremor sense and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, 5.
Yeah, so, I think that's a really good one. Did you have another one?
I saw 17. 17 looks pretty neat.
Okay, why don't you tell us about that?
The boss is a glass golem that can hide and heal inside of mirrors. Players can see the golem in the mirror, but must break the glass to force it to come out.
Ooh.
And that's something that even occurs to players in the first place.
That is really cool.
Because it made me think of I think it was a goblin type creature we talked about a few episodes ago, where he can shoot through mirrors, but the players cannot. Like adding a mix between those two together would be great, because you have this golem who can heal inside mirrors, and as you're breaking the mirrors to get the golem out, you're also making the goblin more ineffective because he has less mirrors to shoot from.
Yeah, I'm certain the more I read this that the writer of DNDSpeak, which is I don't know because it doesn't say his name here, actually watches anime, because I'm pretty sure there's a Naruto bloodline trait that the person jumps back and forth between mirrors at like lightning speed and attacks from them, but can't be attacked while they're in it.
Is that a filler episode?
No, that's one of the first like main bosses. When Naruto's little inner seal begins to break and he heals for the first time, and it was a pretty dope ass episode actually. I can't remember the name of the character, but that very much reminds me of that. And I definitely like stuff like this because it forces the characters to, instead of just attacking the monster, they have to come with another, take another route. Okay, attacking him's not working. What else can we do?
Oh, Haku.
Haku, yes.
Oh, the ice. Got it.
Yes.
Which, yeah.
Thanks, Pink Gorilla.
Oh, Haku.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I know there's one. So I'm more and more certain this person watches anime, which means you get 10 cool points from me, buddy.
Not gonna lie, I totally forgot about Haku because Zabuza was awesome.
Cool.
Zabuza was eh.
Zabuza was my Steve Bloom. You shut up.
No, he
Years
is.
into the future.
Did you want to pick another one, B?
There's a lot of them. You said there's 100 of them, right?
Yeah.
Let's do a random bap.
You gonna kick the button, see what the random one it gives you?
Boom. Okay, what's this?
There's a random button at the top. I think I briefly talked about.
Was
Generate
yeah,
boss
what-
mechanic.
Was at the top?
A powerful knight is bound
Whoa.
to a bad guy's service. He has to obey anyone who says please to him first. The bad guy has deafened him so he can't hear. But if you cure that, that is awesome. That is such a cool mechanic.
Big bad enemy guy has a lair full of deadly traps and powerful minions, and always remains one step ahead of the PCs. During the final confrontation, the big bad enemy guy is revealed to simply be a clever and well-connected commoner, completely unable to fight head-on with the party.
Totally. I think we've talked about that. That is totally a
Mob boss?
No, the stupid Macaulay Culkin. What is it?
Home Alone?
Home Alone, yeah, right? he you can bitch slap him and he's gonna knock unconscious, but you got to get to him first. Very cool stuff. So
You ever watched the Robot Chicken sketch of that for Home Alone? It's like Home Alone in reality. You see two burglars coming in. Hey, so apparently the door was red hot, so I came in through the basement. You gotta be careful because there's tar on the steps and there's ice on this floor for some reason. It's like, yeah, watch out in the living room over there. It's like, why? And there's broken glass and stuff. Why is all this here? You see the kid at the top of the stairs like, ha, you guys can't get me. Bam! Shoots him in the face like, whoa.
right from the bottom.
And he goes, one less witness.
That's funny. Overall, what are your guys' thoughts on this 100 interesting boss mechanics?
That's 100 encounters that you can generate for free
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
having to think about it.
Pan
Yeah.
And
shot.
I'm sure you can mix and match all these.
Oh, absolutely. That's where I think the beauty shines. I mean, think about it. If you combine the stupid invisible stalker with the one where him and his buddy, if they're close together and indestructible, now they're just running up to you guys, grabbing you and dragging you through the mines.
Like the the two we just talked about. You got the commoner guy that's got always elaborate traps and stuff. What's to say that this powerful knight is bound to the commoner through some like scroll that he had or something.
That's interesting. See, I like this. This is fantastic. I think overall this is a great resource and a must-have for any D&D dungeon master or game master if you don't play Dungeons and Dragons. Because you notice there was no mechanics tied to any of this stuff.
Nope.
It's just general concepts, kind of like what we do on our show. So very cool stuff. Definitely check it out. 100 interesting boss mechanics by DNDSpeak. Before we move on, I think that'll do it for our main topic. Before we move on to our Unearthed and Tips and Tricks segment, we have another gift to give away, compliments of Loresmith.
Bam.
Each episode, we will draw another lucky subscriber's name, and they will win the best-selling adventure, The Claws of Madness, compliments of Loresmith. Loresmith is a small indie team of creative artists who remember exploring the realms together with friends, finding incredible places, and meeting colorful characters along the way. They set out to deliver an experience that sparks those lasting impressions that pushed them to create their first standalone adventure, The Claws of Madness. This best-selling adventure is one that you don't want to miss.
Brandon, who's our winner today?
I don't know. I just opened the show notes. Let's scroll down a little bit. It looks like it's Wasuma. WSAWMA. Yeah.
Congratulations, Wasama. If you enjoyed the adventure, leave Smith a review.
Wasama.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our unearthed tips and
You motherfucker.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our unearthed tips and tricks segment. Where we bring you new
I really
and
want to bitch
reusable
slap you right
material
now.
for both players and DMs.
Did I take your pride away there for a second?
Choke on a dick. Why don't you take our Why don't you take our character concept?
Oh, shit. Our character concept comes from Charles Kuntz. It is called the Spirit Summoner. I have been watching a lot of Fate Night animes. Oh, look at that.
Don't we all?
Another anime character. So, a new character concept. The Summoner character that is a normal NPC that made a pact with an ancient spirit of battle. They have no knowledge of how to use a blade, so when a fight breaks out, the ancient spirit fills them with energy and bolsters their body to justify the higher stats. The spirit also guides their blade and gives them knowledge of techniques to use. Could also work really well for a wizard or sorcerer that the spirit channels the spells through the character. As the character levels up, the ability to channel more power through their bonds leads to higher spell levels.
You pissed off Wizard Cadius. Never cut tips and tricks.
Hey. I don't mean to do that for like the last 4 weeks.
So I actually really like this. I have literally ran this exact character concept. If you recall on an episode, we did class reskinning, and in the class reskinning we talked about the Barbarian. Well, I actually ran that character more like this in a special one-shot that was something I thought Gabe was working on. I don't know really where that's going to be honest, but it was an 8-hour recording that was supposed to be released on. He was thinking about releasing online. But anyways, in it, my character himself was okay, but he would like hold out his hand, and a spiritual ball of energy would like form from his ancestors, and then he would like shove it into his chest, and this giant transparent specter of an ancient ancestor would like hover over top of him, much like either a stand in JoJo's Adventure, or in Shaman King. It was actually the bigger inspiration in Shaman King, where he works side by side with them, and he would almost take on a different persona while he was doing it. For instance, when he would rage, it would go inside and form this big billowing armored warrior, versus when he would do detect magic. His eyes would glow and his tattoos would light up much like Avatar.
Yep.
And he would have this spectral wizard with a big old beard kind of hovering over him. A big book would open and kind of flip through on its own, and it was basically just detecting magic, and then he would reiterate what he saw, and it's such a fun character concept.
And then the Path of the Ancestral Guardian came out for the Barbarian.
Yeah, fuckers. I'm telling you, I still think Watsy listens to our show and steals our ideas. I really do, and I'm okay with that.
And actually, and I will admit, overall, the various Fate series are actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite is actually Fate Zero, and I actually think and a few of them actually are available on Netflix. So I actually do recommend checking them out.
Yeah, I have an awesome ass action figure of Torius, and it's dope as hell. So.
I still laugh at Fate Zero, where one of the mages that fights is actually a modern mage hunter who unlike all his opponents, has no problems using guns because he's an assassin.
Yeah.
And because he has no problem using modern gear, it actually lets you multiple hilarious moments. Like one was he was trying to track down at the top of a skyscraper. Like, the scouts come for you. I'm not worried. Every floor below me is actually a magical labyrinth full of traps and so on and so forth. It'll take him hundreds of years to get through this. Because to the outside, beep, blows up the building.
Blows up the building? That's awesome.
Just moments like
fantastic.
that.
What do you think, Brandon?
I think the idea of giving a weakened character the ability to fight and the concept of physical combat, like with swords, rapiers, and such, especially for creatures, character types that can't do that, like wizards, that would be an amazing thing to have, especially when you're fighting something like, or what can do that? The Beholder. when they use an anti-magic ray. It's like, oh shit, I can't use my spells now. Let me call upon my guardian so I can kick some ass with my sword.
I like that. I actually, so I found one of the roleplay things I wrote for. So for my character in this game that that Gabe was running, I wrote like chants for everything. And so when he raged, he said, "Aman Vuldar, first warrior king of the Valsung Empire, come forth and grant me your strength. Spirit bond." Yeah, I'm just so fucking nerdy. But I had freaking chants for everything. I'm so dorky. All right, I think that'll do it for our character concept. Our monster variant today is the Warthorn Battlebriar. The origin stat block you're going to use for this is the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So battlebriars are deadly, monstrous living plants, purposefully grown to serve in military capacities. They can destroy massed formations of lesser troops, storm defended embankments, and bring down fortifications. Most take on the forms similar to that of large beasts of burden, making them essentially living siege engines. Since they don't feed normally, they feed on light and since they feed on light and nutrients from the ground, they make excellent eternal guardians. So that is a lot of badass flavor that I got from one of the 4th edition books for this monster that I found. And that was just, I don't know, I was just like, that sounds awesome. I'm going to make that. So the first feature we're going to give it is Dark Vision, followed by Death Burst. But the Death Burst is a little different than you would expect. Normally, Death Burst just outright does damage. This is a little different. The Battlebriar explodes when it drops to 0 hit points. Each creature within 30 feet of it must succeed a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or take 66 poison damage and become infected with a disease on a failed save. Creatures immune to poison condition are immune to this disease. Thorny spores invade an infected creature's system, killing the creature in a number of hours equal to 1d12 plus the creature's constitution score, unless the disease is removed. In half the time, the creature becomes poisoned for the rest of the duration. After the creature dies, it sprouts 2d4 tiny eggs that grow and hatch into young battlebriars in 10 days. The battlebriar's stats on are half of the original until it matures a year later. Basically, you get infected with a gut buster. Or a chest burster.
You made a xenomorph.
Yeah. Which I just think is awesome. Additionally, they get Thorny Body, so at the start of its turn, the Battlebriar deals 2d6 piercing damage to any creature that is grappled with it. And once a day, it can release spores. A 15-foot radius cloud of toxic spores extend out from the Battlebriar. The spores spread around corners. Each creature in that area that isn't a plant must succeed a DC 17 con save or be poisoned for 24 hours. What do you guys think?
Death.
Now that thing just nasty.
Death.
All I look up and see from Tater is, oh, why does it hurt when I pee? Dude, if that's the only issue you got, you're doing pretty good.
There's blood in my urine.
See? There's much worse. You guys got anything? Would you guys use something like this? What is interesting? What do you guys think about this?
Okay, a T-Rex is scary as is, and we add all this other crap to it that just makes it so much worse.
Yeah. Do you think that the death burst, chest burst thing is pretty cool?
Yes. I would totally use a disease from the
Malady Codex?
malady. Yeah, the malady. I was thinking codex. Like, wait, there's a word before that.
I highly recommend any one of their books. Go to critacademy.com and click on the DM's Guild link there and pick up all that shit because it is pure, unadulterated gold.
Horror.
Like New York Tater P, apparently.
Yeah, the malady codex. I would take a deadly disease from that.
And imply it instead of this one?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry my disease isn't good enough for you.
Well, it just says it's a deadly disease, and it says you die.
And you're poisoned.
And you're poisoned. And you can look in malady for any kind of deadly poison disease, and you can add all the symptoms to it that go with it. Or you can make up your own, I guess.
Yeah. I agree. I think that'd be good. I really like this monster. I'm looking forward to making many, many, many more of the Battlebriars, so keep an eye out for those. That'll do it for our monster variant.
And
Go
Go ahead. And for a counter, we have the Altar of Judgment. Relief sculptures cover the walls and ceilings of this chamber. The alcove-lined passage from which you have just emerged is obscured by a rolling cloud of mist surrounding the altar. Approximately 2 human-sized handprints are carved on the altar's top. On the altar's face, glyph spells... On the altar's face, glyphs spell out, choose a unique language from one of your players, a message. Place thy hands and seek judgment. Only those who are worthy shall pass.
You shall not pass.
Once a character places their hands on the handprints, their eyes glow white, and they are incapacitated. In their mind, they deal with a telepathic riddle. If the creature removes their hands from the prints, they must succeed a DC 25 Wisdom saving throw or have their memory wiped by the modified memory spell. The effect removes any knowledge of the riddle. And the riddle we have written down, of course, as an example, is formless. I can move even gods to action. Soundless. My fervor can inspire grand rhetoric. Colorless. In my absence, atrocities gather and fester. Breathless. Victims of those who ignore me echo to the sky. Not all care to receive me, but those who do wield salvation.
Brandon, what is the answer?
I
Or
was
do you already
wondering.
know?
I was wondering why you flipped my phone over, and it was halfway through the riddle, so I didn't hear any of it.
Well, I just posted it, so.
Formless, I can move in even gods to action. Soundless, my fervor can inspire grand rhetoric. Colorless, in my absence, atrocities gather and fester. Breathless, victims of those who ignore me echo to the sky. Not all care to receive me, but those who do wield salvation. Air?
I'll admit, when I first read the riddle, I thought history.
That's what I thought too. No, the actual answer. Well, let's give them a few minutes.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to try? Do you guys think you know the? Oh, that's not true. That's bullshit. They got the answers too if they opened up the
Formless,
show notes.
Soundless, colorless, breathless.
Do you want to make an
Victims of
intelligence
those
check?
who ignore me echo to
There's
the
a D20
sky.
over there.
Not all care to receive me, but those who do will salvation. Money?
Nope.
No.
Compassion.
Compassion?
Compassion. I can move even the gods to action. Of course, if you can make them feel for you.
Yes.
It's soundless. My fervor can inspire grand rhetoric. I mean, it's amazing. This is a really great gateway to a holy place, I think, or a location where beings of lawful good reside. I think in the example that I found this at, I altered it extensively, but it came from originally like a path into like an angelic temple or something. So I think this is really cool, and I wanted to do something besides combat, since that's what most of the mechanics that we discussed about. So I think this is a great encounter, and hopefully you guys will use it. If you do, please let us know. That'll do it for our encounter of the podcast. Brandon, you want to tell us about our magic item today?
Our magic item of the week is the Ghost Strike Oil. It is a potion, and it is very rare. This vial of gray and yellow translucent murky oil can coat one melee weapon, or up to 5 pieces of slashing or piercing ammunition. Applying the oil takes 1 minute for 1 hour. Applying the oil takes 1 minute. For 1 hour, the coated item is magical, and you take the attack action against an undead creature. A wraith-like after image of your weapon also strikes the creature. Oh, that sounds awesome. Make another weapon attack as part of the action. If a creature hit with a weapon enchanted by this oil is possessed, ends, and the creature reappears in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the body of the creature it possessed.
What do you guys think?
Is this a way of giving you double strike?
Only on ghosts, but yeah. Undead creatures only, but yeah, for a temporary amount of time.
I like the idea of you slashing an enemy and a wraith-like arm just going after it
Yep, that's kind of what I was going for.
and raking them.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really unique. I like that it's consumable. I'm really quickly becoming more of a fan of consumable magic items than permanent magic items. Either A, because players will hoard the hell out of that shit, or B, it allows me to throw more and more magic items at them without worrying that they're going to become imbalanced.
I don't know. I kind of picture people doing the Skyrim thing. I'm gonna hoard this We Love Cheese. No, I'm gonna need it.
Wizard Cadius thought the answer was hope. I think that fit kind of too. I think.
Yep.
I think as a DM, I would probably take any of those answers. I really like this. I thought it was something unique. I'm quickly becoming a fan of the oils and the potions and all that shit, and it just is more fun. By the way, your Deckard Cain voice, I just shared a file called Play Diablo. I bought Diablo 2 from Blizzard as well.
Nice.
But I guess Play Diablo allows you to play it online, I guess. I don't... Yeah, Diablo 2.
You could always play Diablo 2 online.
Not anymore. You need servers to do that.
They shut the servers down? I wonder when they did that.
Like forever ago.
Oh, well, didn't know that.
Anyways, I shared it,
But
so
that's
how's
awesome.
that? That'll do it for our magic item. For our Dungeon Master tip, we have a tip from Game Master's Stash. A hero passes.
Oh.
Sometimes the kingdom must mourn the tragic loss of a national hero. In fantasy settings, so many great heroes come and go. Sometimes they win the hearts of the people, and when this happens, we might see a national holiday for mourning of the hero. This might be a rival hero, an important NPC, or an important NPC. The gap left by their death might be a chance for ambitious heroes to fill. There may be a backlash to the actions if they died in a controversial way. Alternatively, it could be the mourning of the player character, in which case you might honor the player who has lost their long-term characters. Finally, the question might arise, what happens if a hero comes back from the dead after such a celebration? This one really had me thinking.
I'm back, bitches! What happened while I was gone? Did I die?
But think about it. In a world where resurrection magic is possible, kingdoms can continually bring back whoever they wanted. Now, it costs a lot of money to resurrect somebody after that window, right? Like
Yeah.
only like true resurrection or so, I think.
Yep. And I believe also as well that you can only resurrect somebody who's willing to come back to life.
That's
right.
true. I hadn't considered that. I think in the true resurrection spell, it doesn't tell me what the... Yeah, it requires gold worth diamonds worth 25,000 gold piece, which is an absolute treasure hoard of money. So it's not cheap, but think about it. Well, you mentioned that they have to want to come back. Is they come back, is there some sort of penalty? Do they become less of the person they are? I think a good example of that, actually, Wizard Cadis is talking about Gotham with Batman, but no Bruce Wayne, just Gotham. I think that what would be cool about this is that if they did die, the world could come together to bring them back, but if they brought them back, would they be the same? In the Batman example, that happens with Two-Face in one of the Batman movies, right? He
Yeah.
basically has a near-death experience or whatever, and it totally changes his persona. What if they decide to invest in bringing back this person after this big celebration? Their loss is just too great, and they come back, and their thoughts and minds are twisted and everything.
Throw them into heaven. I ain't coming back.
Well, I guess that depends on where they go, I suppose.
They come back. I was in bliss, you assholes! Kill me now! I can't do it myself because I don't want to go to the abyss!
Well, hence the willing part.
Right.
But I've also said, what if you brought back somebody who came from hell? They'll probably have freaking PTSD
Right.
from their experience in hell.
Yeah, I mean, especially at higher levels, death is kind of only an inconvenience. But up to that point, I mean, your characters can be heroes before that and still die. Like, early on, some of them have time limits, right? I like Revivify you if you have to resurrect them within a minute or something like that.
Which is not much time.
No, not at all. So I think it's really cool to include a ceremony for a hero when they're lost, especially if you have these big, great wars. You can really make the world feel alive by saying, hey, while you guys were out doing this thing, you come back and everyone is sad. There's a big, giant golden casket, and they're mourning the death of this hero. What are we going to do without this hero? You know, so I definitely, as a DM, think this is an amazing Dungeon Master tip. Game Master Stash never disappoints. So I would... hell is a vacation compared to my marriage. Thanks, Tater.
Every week, man.
Pink's like, compared to most, I'd say. I think this is a great Dungeon Master tip. Thank you, Game Master Stash. If you guys are not following them on Facebook, do it. They've got fat tips and loot every single day you can pick up. And moving on to our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick.
Damn it, Ian.
Ever since he got that goddamn laptop.
I'm sorry, I'm interacting in chat with our users and checking other material at the same time.
That's weird because I don't see any
Post from you?
posts from you.
Hence the and checking other materials part.
That's funny. He was looking at cosplay chicks. I know it.
Ooh, damn.
Actually, I was looking through the True Resurrection a moment ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was doing that earlier. So that'll do for our Dungeon Master tip of the podcast. Our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick.
I kind of just wanted to not say it just so he had to say it on his own, and then I wouldn't even fix it. I just overlap it later. Our player tip is reflect and review. Now, like a birthday or a New Year's Eve party, leveling up is a great time to reflect on the adventures you've had since the last time this occasion rolled around. You know, first, consider the moments you enjoyed the most, especially when your character really shone, right? Where they were the brightest star in the sky. What could you choose now to help you get those golden moments more often? For example, if you're a paladin extolled the virtues of sacrifice while taking the hit that was meant for an ally that may have caused their downfall, keep an eye out for similar reactions, skills, features, and spells that focus around martyrdom if that's something that you really enjoy during your game. You can pick things up that fit that theme both at your new level and potential replacements for any of your older features, because some of that stuff allows you to change it out as you level up. So if that's something that really got your blood pumping, consider that moving forward. I know some people prefer to build out their character long before they even get to those levels, but...
Dude, Paladin, you have much more spells than gives you utility. Dude, it's just smite fuel.
The other thing to consider is missed opportunities. Think about times that you were frustrated that you were unable to rise to a specific situation. Now, we often think, oh, this isn't going to happen again, or it's happened once in a while. It's undoubtedly going to happen again. So maybe if you hated that feeling, consider taking features that offset that when it happens again so you're not shafted. Hey there, Madden McGee. Did you just fart?
No.
Oh, I thought the door opened, then I saw you kind of rocking. I thought you were trying to do a one-cheek sneak. I was like, it doesn't really work in these chairs. You leave a little on the side. Anyways. Think about those things that where you were sad that something failed, you know. Are you still, one of the examples is, you know, do you still gripe about when, you know, your ally's life hinged on your elf ranger's bow shot, and then you rolled up the dice and you missed, and that character died?
Oh.
Could you then consider maybe taking the elven accuracy racial or the lucky feat or any other features that let you re-roll or maybe roll at advantage to reduce reduce the chances of that same scenario happening again? What do you guys think about this?
It is good to reflect on previous adventures, and it is interesting to build your character often, too.
Yeah, especially if it's what's tickling your Peter.
There's a lot of stuff to learn from. Like, if you're surrounded in vines, it's a good idea not to use burning hands on yourself.
Okay, Brandon. Oh, God. You tickle my Peter.
That character lasted a half hour.
I asked you, are you sure you want to do that?
I didn't. No. I had the assumption that burning the vines would make it go, oh, it burns and let go, and then I'd be free. But no, instead I just went, ow, that hurts, and it held on tighter, and I burned myself. I was like, oh, God, no!
Yeah, you rolled really well on that, if I remember. Anyways, it's definitely something to consider because when you're playing the game, isn't the goal to have fun? So when you reflect on those moments that you were so into it and you were just like, oh man, I can't, I want that to happen again. Consider building your characters that way. So we have a question from Madden the Gee. I have a question. I said that already. For a D&D character idea, what got into my mind some time ago? Would you hear me out and tell me your thoughts? We definitely encourage submissions through Facebook and Twitter. But honestly, we're actually ahead of schedule, so shoot it.
Isn't Madden the G like the first person who ever come in here and say, hey, I got a character idea. What do you think?
I have no idea. But you go ahead and post it here, and we will go ahead and continue closing out, and then we will answer it to the best of our ability.
Damn it, Tater.
Go ahead.
I want to hear about the Cube event. Why he's in a kilt?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's where you were at, weren't you? I forgot about that. You
So
missed In the
weekend.
Realm, so
Yeah, I know.
we will touch on that, but let us close out so I don't got to go through and edit a bunch of extra shit. So that'll do it for our Unearthed tips and that'll do it for our show today. Before we close out, we have another gift to give away. Compliments of Jeff Stevens.
Where is he? Oh, there he is.
A small village, empty of villagers except for one boy, found sitting and weeping next to a jester's pageant wagon. The boy explains that the villagers,
nightmare.
including his family, followed a jester into the wagon and never came out. What madness could the adventurers face? Can they save the villagers? Or will they go mad trying? Can you survive the madhouse of Tasha's
You're
kids?
such a dick. It's like, shut up, they can hear you.
I didn't actually laugh, though. I just emoted it. Brandon, who's our winner today?
Our winner is RubenBennett.nz. What? You pointed at something.
No, I certainly did not.
Oh, okay.
Why do you guys watch us?
I don't
Like a
know.
Congratulations, Ruben Z. NZ. If you enjoy the adventure, please let Jeff Stevens know. Brandon, if they would like to be entered to win prizes, how can they do that?
Follow us
On Facebook.
on everything.
Yes.
We're on Twitter, Facebook,
At
Twitch,
Crit Academy.
Twitch here. We are the criticacademy.com. You can subscribe there. We do have a YouTube, but I don't know how well that's doing.
Yeah, it's growing. I don't focus too much on it, so
And
my priority's Twitch.
think that's it.
and
Do we have anything
everything
else?
Yeah, that's it.
We should do an Instagram.
No, fuck not. No, because I get stuck doing it all. All right. Alicia actually made a good point. We should ask you about what's going on in your realm, and then I can just put it in there later. Because that won't be out of place at all. Please join us on our next episode where we will be discussing what's your motivation. There is an awesome section in the D&D 4E book called Player Strategy, and it talks about determining your motivation. So we're gonna walk through that, and I'm really excited to talk about that. Did that question ever come up from that guy?
Nope.
We're still waiting on the question there, Madden. Madden! Anybody, can you do a Madden voice?
EA Sports. It's in the DLC.
That's not him, but that's funny.
I know it gets old. I don't.
It's in the DLC. If you have any feedback, unearthed tips and tricks, or topics you'd like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook at Crit Academy, as we have just discussed. We hope you enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find our show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review on iTunes. Also, as of this recording, please go sign up on iTunes and leave us a review. We're going to be doing another giveaway for our challenge accepted product. So we're going to be choosing it from anyone that leaves an iTunes review. Please, a 5-star one would be fantastic.
German.
Hey, Madden, you're gonna fit it great. My English isn't that good either.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch. I don't know if I said that right. I tried
Um,
learning German for a while, and I lost my Rosetta Stone disc.
I could speak. I could say my last name. Anyways, did we do that already? I've lost my. You distracted me. Or you can just send us a message telling us how much you enjoy the show.
The show.
The show?
The show.
Yes.
The show.
The next line.
The show.
The next line. Somebody. Anybody. Either one of you. There's two of you. Somebody. The next line.
Also, be sure to give us a like in the share.
Like the share.
What? Not both of you at the same time.
Also, be sure to give us a like and a share.
Nailed it.
That was about
Oh, man. If you'd like to support our show, there is a plethora of ways you can do it. The most rewarding way is becoming a patron. We give all kinds of fat loot. You get extra stories. You can join us for games. Oh, my God. Did you see Brandon's video for his game that he's running in a week?
Yeah.
That was dope, man. He had all this crazy-ass makeup on and overlaid this. God, you better run a badass game now after you laid out some shit like that. Like, that video was dope as hell.
So I have things I want to plan for.
Yeah, are you
Or
going to run it here?
For. Yeah, probably. I'm gonna
Cool.
try to.
So
I might
yeah,
have to move the camera around.
so you can support us in a lot of different ways. Becoming a patron gives you fat loots and other opportunities. You can purchase our DMs Guild content. I recommend Challenge Accepted. We're nearing Copper bestseller already, so definitely pick up
was
that
quick.
bad boy. Brandon does commission art, so check that out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you want to take that, B?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I
what do you
forgot.
want?
I changed my name, so it's not German anymore.
What do you,
I didn't want to be considered a Nazi ever. No. I'm kidding. I just didn't like my dad. He left me and was a pile of shit. I'm going to cry now.
Don't cry.
Sad life. I have a great life now. It was sad early on.
Make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com.
Oh, where did that come from?
I don't know. Ashley, what did you want? You want Decker or the Duke? I don't know.
Do the Duke. I like the Duke. Give
Make
him
sh-
the Duke. That's what she said.
Hail to the king, baby. Make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com. Also, follow us on twitch.tv/critacademy and subscribe on YouTube so we can help you on your future adventures as well as a chance to win cool prizes each and every week. Make sure to check out our fellowship members as well. All of our shoutouts to Interparty Conflict, D&D Character Lab, Brute Force, and Ignorance.
No. You got to do better than that if you're going to promote those people, dude.
He
I
told
can't.
the character concept.
Did he?
Yeah.
I totally missed it then.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll go back.
You
We'll go
missed
back.
that
I
whole
missed
question?
that whole segment. My bad, boss.
Just a second,
Um,
man.
So let's. Are you gonna do that in a better, more professional way if you're gonna promote them, or do you want me to do that?
Oh, gee willikers, we got the people over at Interparty Conflict who will answer your questions a lot like us, but they do it a lot better. Thanks to Gabe and what's the other guy's name?
Jeff.
Jeff and Gabe. They're great guys.
Also check the kind GM and shit. You totally threw me off. And Game Master Stash. Those guys have awesome blogs and they make amazing posts full of RPG content, not even just D&D related. Especially if you like sci-fi stuff. They do a lot of good sci-fi stuff, so definitely check them out.
Yes, and D&D Character Labs where they roll up their own babies with each other and they fight, they duke it out, and they figure out which one's better.
They argue whose baby's
and they
better.
argue and they argue and they argue.
Basically, it's a D and Dick measuring contest. This shit cracks me up. I love that show, man. It's awesome. They have a very interesting ruler for their measurement.
+2. +1.
mean a
2.
yardstick?
It's concave.
What's wrong with our footer? What's a footer?
Floater?
No, New York Tater says we need to redo our footer for our stream like it was on YouTube. I don't even know what it's like on YouTube. Send me a screenshot, Tater. That'll do it for our show. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon.
I'm your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes. Now, what the hell was his question?
All right.